cinnamon too.
I call the regular monthly meeting, August, to order. Let us all stand for the invocation and pledge to the flag.
Let us pray. Our Father, today is the day that you have made, and help us to rejoice. God, just be with us through this day, be with us through this meeting. And God, may we remember we're representing all of Nash County, Lord, not just a certain group. Be with us. May we think before we vote, and may we vote the things that are right for Nash County citizens. Be with us and keep us all close to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Would you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. You all of us received the minutes of our previous meeting. The motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Richardson. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
And opposers say no. Motion passed. There were no sign-ups for public comment, so we'll move on. Next thing on the agenda is introduction of Nash County 4-H youth representatives that will be attending the County Commissioners State Annual Conference, which is, it's next week. Call on Sandy Hall, who is our new County Extension Director, and I want to congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
For the
Thank you
hard
so
work
much.
that you've done.
A lot of firsts today for me, so I'm excited to be in this role and come before you today. I want to take this time to just introduce myself so you would know that I am the new County Extension Director. As you know already, I've served in the Cooperative Extension Office for 18 years as the 4-H Youth Development, and I will continue to lead the 4-H program and those responsibilities. I replaced Mr. Charlie Tyson, who retired in December of 2015, and I know I have big shoes to fill, but I'll do my best. But thank you again for this opportunity, and I look forward to the bright future of cooperative extension and working with all of you to make it better. As of July 11th, we welcome a new Northeast District Extension Director, Mr. Stephen Greer, and I'm going to ask him to come forward and stand right here. Stephen was promoted from the County Extension Director, where he served in Moore County since 2012. His extension career includes working at NC State University and NC A&T University. He has extensive experience in his subject matter and is with leadership responsibilities, employee relations, and other personnel management functions. He replaces Dr. Travis Burke, who will be retiring on September 1st after 33 years of service. And I know Mr. Lamb and Mr. Belfield know Dr. Burke very well. But we'd like to take this moment to welcome Stephen, and would you like to say a few words?
Just some real quick ones. Thank you for having me here this morning. I certainly do appreciate it. And stepping up into this role, I'm very fortunate in the Northeast to have some exceptional county extension directors, including Sandy. We're really thrilled that she stepped into this role, and I know with her leadership, Extension is going to continue to do great things here, and we're really thrilled with that.
Okay.
And we welcome you to the district, and we feel that you'll do a great job.
Next, I have with me today a few of our officers with the County Council. I have Mr. Johnny Speck. This is Mr. Johnny Speck. I'm going to ask him to stand. He's our Nash County 4-H'er who are currently serving as our president and will attend the upcoming North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Youth Voice that you will see in Forsyth County in just weekend after next. So Johnny is here with you today to learn about the role that you play and to sit in on the meeting, as well as he will go with Ms. Patsy McGee this afternoon to the different departments to learn about county government. Also joining him today are a couple of our county council officers. If they will stand, first is Ms. Haley Orman. and Michaela Speck. They are 2 of our 6 county council officers that could be with us today. The other ones are at school tryouts for sports, so very involved. And also joining is Miss Maggie Earl. She is our 4-H program assistant summer. And Miss Maggie will be leaving us this week as she pursues her full-time job in Johnston County as an ag teacher. So we've been delighted to have her lead our program for the last 4 years. So again, thank you for your time, and we look forward to serving and working with you.
And I certainly hope you take the whole team around and visiting the different county departments so they understand something about the function of county government, because county government matters. It's right there with the people. Okay, we move on. Next is utilities policy changes related to late fees, utility department.
Yes, Dawn Hall was going to present this morning, but due to some extenuating circumstances, she was not able to be here today, so I told her I would fill in. Derek is also returning from an out-of-state trip. So you have in your agenda a request from Public Utilities to update their policy related to late fees. And basically, there have been some issues in the past with delivery and receipt of mail with regarding to late fees. And what the department is requesting is the first set of bullet points that are in your agenda, which is they are proposing to change the due date for utility bills from being postmarked on the 15th to being due on the 15th of the month. Utilities will no longer send out a late notice, but customers will be allowed to mail in, drop off, pay online those bills up through the 18th of the month. So we're basically just eliminating that late notice, which a lot of jurisdictions have gone to, and just charging the fee on the 18th. Oh, I thought I saw Derek here, 18th. And then there are some other minor clarifications to the policy that are included. Beth Massengale is here from the Utilities Department to sort of help me if you have questions. But again, the major change would be eliminating that late notice, but allowing customers an extra 3 days to pay. And I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you have. I will also say that the county attorney recommended a couple of minor housekeeping changes to the actual document that you have in your agenda that looks like this. We were adding a couple of words just to clarify in places, but nothing significant with regard to the policy itself.
Board members, any questions?
Yes.
How is this being communicated?
I think the plan is to make this effective. Come up here with me, Beth. What day?
Hopefully, we can have it effective the September 30th bill, so we were going to put a message on our bill to let the customers know.
Are you going to have any kind of grace period? As we get acclimated to this new system?
He hasn't mentioned it, but we can sure, bring that and ask Derek his attention.
Actually, this is, currently, the bills are due on the 15th, and the late penalty attaches on the 15th. So this is actually loosening that up to not attach that late fee until the 18th.
Well, if it's not received, do you send a delinquent notice?
Yes.
Currently, they send a delinquent notice on the 16th. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And cutoffs are the 25th.
Do they still have to pay the late fee if they meet the cutoff date?
Yes, currently. And they still will, but they're moving the accrual of the late fee from the 15th at 5 o'clock to the 18th. So that's to the advantage of the consumer.
Well, I was discussing it Friday with Rosemary about not sending out late fee notices, and just put it on the bill.
Right.
At the next billing, and you save that postage for you. I guess we were talking about what, about $3,000 a year?
What would we save on postage? We were talking about the late fee being about that
Oh,
much.
yeah,
but-
How
okay.
many we mail out?
Yeah, what, didn't you tell me about 250 a month or
Yeah,
something
between
like that?
260 and 300 a month.
Okay. Seemed like to me that would be good, and I agree with Commissioner Outlaw that we need to give them a notice, at least so they can get their minds set on when the late fee charges will come on their bill. But I don't think we need to be sending them a notice that your bill came late and we're attaching this fee on it.
Right,
Just put it on there in the next bill.
right. Well, it was getting mixed up in the mail, things are postmarked by a certain day, people drop things in the mail and we apply the late fee and
Have to
then the letter,
reverse them.
then their payment gets here, so it's just a
Yeah.
crossing paths in the mail a lot of times.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the delinquent notice not mailing that. I just want to make sure everybody understands and they have time to get acclimated to some change in the
We
system.
could give them a couple of months, because it just, the postal service, it took like 2 days to get there at least. And so if we move it to the 18th at 5 and add them, if we were to send a delinquent notice, they wouldn't have much leeway to get it back to us by the 25th, so.
I
So
know
instead of, go
I
ahead.
know some companies, when they bill you, and especially utility companies, telephone, they would say, please allow, and not only that, credit card companies say things, please allow 5 days in mailing it so that we'll get it on time. So mail your bill at least 5 days. But I don't know if it take that much time here locally, but they certainly ought to at least mail it at least 3 days before,
Well, what we-
before it's due.
That's right. What we can do is instead of getting this started with the September bills,
Right, wait.
we can start it with the October bills, and that way they'd sort of have a 2-month notice with regard to the notice on the bills. But we had planned to start it in September. But that-
Really?
I see nothing wrong with starting it in September. I
Well-
think you give them 30-day notice, it ought to be good.
Well, actually, you're talking about the October payment.
Right,
The September 30th
Bill
bill, we
would be the October
we send them out.
yeah.
Well, really, the only change is they're not gonna get a late notice. They're really getting a little bit of help on
Yeah.
the late charge.
Right.
Right.
3 days additional, so it's pretty insignificant, just as long as you let them know they won't be getting a late payment, a late bill anymore, a late payment
The,
notification, if I get it right.
the way we have it now, they have until the 15th, and they get the late fee accrues on the 15th. What happens is they send out the letter, and then on the 16th or 17th, they get a postmarked payment on the 15th. So they've sent out a letter, and then they've got to back out the late fee. So we felt like if we would just move it 3 days, that would give everybody better opportunity.
My whole thing was, that everybody doesn't live maybe like I live. And some people live day to day, week to week, and they don't pay that bill when they receive the notice because they know they're going to get a delinquent notice. So I just think we just need to make sure it's clear exactly what's happening here.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, is there, or Rosemary, is there a late fee, I mean, not a late fee, a charge when you do it online with your credit card?
It's $1.75.
But there are a number of ways. You can mail it in, come by the office, we have a drop box, and you can pay online. So there are multiple ways of getting that payment to us.
Any further questions?
I have one just for informational purposes. This came up during our discussion about the lockbox. On the 16th, how many in the lockbox, how many, not lockbox, but the outside?
Dropbox.
The Dropbox. How many typically payments do you have in there on the 16th?
It's probably around 25.
Yeah. Thank you.
A lot of people use that box. I see them all hours of the
And
day.
on
and
the, yeah, the 25th, the cutoff, they use it a lot too.
How many utility customers do we have that you're sending out?
Almost 3,000. We mailed out about 28, almost 29, so
Every month?
2,900.
So you've got 2 billings before this would become effective, right? August
Yes,
and September.
August 31st and then September 30th.
Okay.
Okay, there's no further questions. I call for a motion to approve the changes.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion to accept the request for the change.
Motion by Commissioner Richardson, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Davis, that we approve these changes. You've heard that motion? All in favor of it, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposers, say no. Motion passed, unanimous. We do have listed a break, but let's do at least one more before we take the break.
Break.
Renewal of franchise agreement, call on Brian.
Got it. It's in a break.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the second approval as required by general statute for the renewal of franchise agreements with North State Medical Transport, Eastern Medical Transport, and K&L Transport. And of course, last month was the first approval. Requesting the second approval by the board.
Question, Mr. Chairman,
Any questions? Yes.
just out of curiosity, do you happen to have with you how many times we used one of these services last year? If you don't, that's fine.
I'm gonna guess, Mr. Davis, around 150 maybe.
Total times
Yes, sir.
for all of them?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we are, we do all we can to make sure we handle the transport.
Does Stony Creek come in front of these people as well, or do they do transport?
Stony Creek is more utilized for emergency transports. When our ambulances get busy, Scott might have some numbers because he's working with Stony Creek quite closely, but we'll pay Stony Creek out several times a day to back us up with the emergency calls.
Okay.
But these transports are like, if we can't handle a transport to Chapel Hill, normally it's not an inter-county transport, it's if they're going out of the counties when we utilize these transport services.
Thank you.
But I can get you those, I'll send you those numbers.
Don't go to a lot of trouble. I was just curious, but if you got them, I'd
I'll
like
send
to
them to
glance
you.
over.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
One question.
Any questions, other questions?
Where are each of these companies located?
Let's see, North State is out of Franklin County, Eastern Medical, I believe, is Bertie County, and K&L is Edgecombe. They're based out of Edgecombe.
Thanks.
Okay. No other questions, I call for a motion to approve.
Move for approval. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw and seconded by Commissioner Wells. You've heard that motion? All in favor of it, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposers, say no. Motion passed, unanimous.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a banking resolution.
This resolution is to officially designate Southern Bank and Trust Company as the official depository for Nash County. The contract with Southern Bank and Trust Company was originally approved at the recess meeting on January 11th, 2016, and effective March 1st, 2016. Things are going well with our transition, but in order to make it more official, I wanted to have the resolution approved.
Does the bank require that?
They took our approval when we had the contract signed, but this would, put things in place, so we wouldn't have to go back into the amendments to find the approval. It would be an official resolution.
Any other questions? No other questions. I call for a motion to approve the banking resolution.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Commissioner Barnes. You've heard that motion. All in favor of it, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposers, say no. Motion passed, unanimous. Thank you. Now, budget amendments.
Okay, the following budget amendments are for your consideration for fiscal year 16-17. First one is related to economic development. It's for the agreement between Nash County and the Department of Transportation for the Draca Road Extension Project, $45,725. No county funds are required. Next item is related to asset forfeiture funds. This budget amendments to budget additional asset forfeiture funds for the purchase of 3 law enforcement rifles and related supplies, $2,500. No county funds are required. The next item is for the North Carolina Nash Community College Bond Project, and this is to close out that bond project fund, and in order to avoid any arbitrage, these funds will be used towards the debt payment for this project. So the funds freed up in the debt service will be transferred to our capital reserve fund for future capital needs, and the amount remaining was $31,760. The next few items are reappropriations from the fund balance from 15-16. The first one is Department of Social Services, $55,450 for Special Children Adoption Fund. The next item is for Aging Services. There are various programs within that. It's the Senior Health Insurance Information Program, Medicare Improvements Patient and Provider Act, the HCCBG Cost Share, Senior Center Program Receipts, and Project Lifesaver donations that were unspent in 2016. The next item is for emergency services. It's $42,005 related to the Supplemental Emergency Management Grant Fund. The next one is for the Sheriff's Department related to community support, K-9 program donations, and DARE program donations unspent from 2016. Next item is for cooperative extension. It's grant funds related to the Master Gardener Volunteer Program that were unspent, $1,158. The next one is soil and water. It's for the 2016 North Carolina Community Conservation Assistance Program, $4,724. And the final reappropriation is for home health. And this is for funds that were allocated for the move of for the relocation of our home health building. And we have $10,000 from the home health department and from the building improvements department, $8,551 that were remaining to be reallocated to fiscal year 16-17. The final budget amendment requested is related to our utilities fund, water and sewer. At the end of fiscal year 15-16, or I'm sorry, when we prepared the budget for 15-16, we were unsure how we would end the year, especially with our large industrial customer. So we anticipated sort of how we had budgeted in prior year. And what we need to do is adjust that budget to reflect more closely how what we saw trending at the end of the year. And it's actually a reduction in the budget. So for water and sewer revenue, we'll be reducing that by $60,950, reducing fund balance requested by $189,674. Public utilities, which is part of the expenditure, $7,000, and water department, $159,460. The sewer department, $84,164. So it's an overall decrease in the budget of $250,624 for water and sewer department. The next item, just to point out part of the water and sewer department, they have a truck budgeted in there. What we did for expansion items in the general fund, we brought it to the board specifically, and this is an expansion item that was not brought, and I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware of that and that it is approved for the utility department for a new truck. It's, they have budgeted $27,000.
Any questions from the board?
Would you present that again, please, ma'am, that last one?
Within the water and sewer budget for fiscal year 16-17, there's a truck budgeted for $27,000. And this is an expansion item, or how we classified our expansion items when we're reviewing more in detail the general fund. And we didn't specifically talk about this one, and I wanted to make sure that the board was aware of it and their specific approval for a new vehicle for the utility department.
If I may elaborate, when we were doing the budget, any new trucks or anything came before the board, but that was the general fund. Because this was in the water and sewer fund, it didn't get brought to y'all. And so we just want to formally make sure y'all are aware that the water and sewer fund, according to Mr. Hawks, they've got 2 vehicles that have well in excess of 100,000 miles.
200,000.
200,000 miles. And so this will replace one of them when it's needed.
I don't quite follow any of that whole line item. Could you maybe go through it again?
Which,
Not the truck, but the first part of
the
it.
water sewer department?
Right.
We're actually decreasing what we originally budgeted. So the original budget, the fund balance was budgeted, I believe, at $378,000. And based on how, we were anticipating more use for our large industrial customer, and at the end of the year, they're not where we anticipated them to be. So we had budgeted higher numbers, and we want to get more closely based on how we ended the year and where we see them progressing through fiscal year 16-17. So we're actually reducing the whole entire budget for water and sewer.
When we were doing the budget, and this particular one got done in like April, we basically used last year's numbers to as placeholders, really.
Right.
And then at the end of the year, once all the data was in, we're now trying to amend that water and sewer budget so it better reflects what the needs will be and what the expenditures and revenues will be based on experience.
Well, if you use last year's numbers, and I see which client this was, we must not use last year's numbers because they are really just getting started good. So we had to get the number from somewhere else, and
We
just
used I'm sorry.
We used what we had in the budget last year, not actual
Correct.
use.
Correct.
Okay.
And this is reflecting actual use, the amended budget.
That whole number is tied to that one industry?
No, we went through every line item in the last month and looked at last year's actuals and adjusted it accordingly, not just water sales, but everything.
So in effect, what you've done is decrease the projected fund balance needed for the current year that we are in.
Correct.
Okay, I got it. It just took me a minute.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing now.
Okay, any further questions?
I have one question on home health. Why does that not revenues balance expenditures?
It was just missed it was a typo.
Okay,
It's
okay.
not the intent.
So there is a revenue of 10,000?
It's a fund balance appropriation. We're reappropriating that money.
Okay. So under revenue, there'll be another 10,000 on the final document?
There will be.
Okay, thank you.
We have to have a balanced budget. Thank you.
Is all this, excuse me, is this all this go with the tax department over there?
This is separate from the tax department.
Yeah. Okay, no further discussion, then I will call for a motion to approve the budget amendments.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wells,
Second.
second by Commissioner Richardson. You've heard that motion to approve the budget amendments. All in favor of it, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposers say no. Motion carried unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, if I could make one comment about one of them, certainly, no questions about it, but under economic development, the money that DOT gave to county to complete that road out there, which kept us from having to put that money in that economic development deal. If y'all run into Mr. Tullis over the next little while, if you would just, again, thank him for his part in getting that money, 'cause it was he that actually got it freed up and got them to pay the whole bill. And from a selfish standpoint, we are going back to him shortly on another matter, and I just may help if this board thanks him again for his part on that, because we do hope to get DOT to participate in the funding of the road on the other side of the courthouse. So it would be timely if you happen to run into him. I'd appreciate that.
Why don't we just send Mr. Tullis a letter
That's
in the event
exactly
some
what
of
I was
us
getting
don't
ready-
run into Mr. Tullis?
Exactly what I was getting ready to say, Commissioner Outlaw.
That
Why
would
don't
be
we just
great.
send him a letter?
Okay, that'd be wonderful.
Just put it from the full board. Right.
Okay, we'll move on to the next part on the agenda is, board appointments.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna pass down one board appointment. I thought we'd have a break where I'd hand them out before then. This is fine. If you just take, each board member take that.
Pass it on,
We have 3 appointments for consideration this morning. The first one is the NEED Board of Directors, which is the Nash Edgecombe Economic Development Board. And we have had a vacancy that needed to be filled through January 31st, 2019. And I think I sent everyone a note on Friday indicating that the chairman is recommending Mr. Marvin Arrington to fill that position. We have requested an application from him. It hadn't come in yet, but I will note that he did go through the Citizens Academy in 2009 and completed that. And I'm just waiting to get that application back in.
and he has agreed to serve if he's approved. Any discussion? If not, I hear a motion to approve.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Commissioner Davis and seconded by Commissioner Richardson. You've heard that motion. All in favor of it, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposers say no. Motion carried unanimous.
The second one is for the Tourism Development Authority, and we had a vacancy in the collector member position, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Davis to note his application.
Okay. All right, this is a position I was, been quite a while on getting filled because it's been a collect position. I mentioned the last meeting that 2 of the hotels had been sold, almost a year ago now. And that's the ones that I kind of wanted to get someone to represent. This lady, Samantha Mazzello, is the way you pronounce her last name. She is a sales and marketing director. As I stated, she does not live in Nash County. She actually lives just in Johnson County, but has a Clayton address. But the general statute, I'm told by the attorney, allows that. And I've looked and looked trying to find someone in all of our hotels because it has to work for a hotel. She was very willing to do it, wanted to get more involved in things in Nash County. And so I would like to propose her to do that, and it will fulfill that requirement of her being a collective member, being she works for a hotel. And this particular firm is not currently represented on the TDA board, which I always try to keep it diverse among the different owners of hotels. So one group doesn't control what we do over there. I appreciate the board's consideration of this young lady.
Okay, any Questions?
Hard
Nah.
to get, excuse me,
Go ahead.
that Mr. Davis, it's hard for him to get somebody that's actually in the hotel business, or he's been there. It's hard, it ain't easy to do like he's talking about. I agree with him 100%.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Okay, motion to approve the recommendation coming from Commissioner Davis.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw, seconded by Commissioner Barnes. You've heard that motion. All in favor of it, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposers say no. Motion carried, unanimous.
Thank you.
And the last one we have is on the Human Services Board. We still have the psychiatrist position that I think we're all still trying to find a qualified person for that one. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, well, thank you. Annual tax report.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and everyone else present, manager. This is, of course, the time of year we usually look forward to. It marks the end of a current fiscal year and the beginning of another. And we're here today to settle the final report, the settlement, and to give to you the settlement for the previous, the just finished fiscal year. And it's a good report. It's always a pleasure to be up here and give you a good report. I don't know what I'm going to do when I have to give you a bad report, but I can't say enough about the staff. I greatly appreciate what they do. I have a couple here with me today that are very, very important to what we do. And I just cannot emphasize enough the job that the entire staff does. I feel like we kind of in the manufacturing business in the sense that, you know, we take all the data in when taxpayers list, and we take that data and we're manufacturing a paid tax bill. So, and when you're able to manufacture a paid tax bill and get, and that means that 98.45% of our levy was collected. So we appreciate very much that effort on behalf of the staff. And, you know, even though in recent years we've had some tough economic times, things appear to be trending in the right direction. Every year, I guess the proliferation of data for the tax office staff to process and organize and assess and collect, it keeps growing naturally. And we've been able to hold the line on the staffing level, as have other departments as well. So we've made a great effort in that part. So I'm particularly proud of what they're able to do and the way they have embraced processes and new strategies in recent years to get this thing collected. So with that said, the current year, of course, your information shows, you know, a number of categories. Of course, the main category we focus on is the current year that we just finished. And as you can see, last year we were at 98.38% when you included everything. This year we're able to report that we're at 98.45%, as I was saying before. And if you look back through the information, and I won't go through every sheet unless you ask me to, I'll be glad to answer any questions. But if you look at the different classes of property, the real estate, personal property, and even the motor vehicles, everything actually increased this year. When motor vehicles last year was at 98 point something, and now we're at 100%. Well, I don't think you'll ever see us go over 100%. If you do, I might be in trouble. But anyway, it's been a really good year, and I also should point out that we appreciate the board's support and management support. I couldn't ask for any better support from management and you all, and the taxpayers of the county. You know, they should be commended for the efforts they've made, because obviously, all taxpayers want to pay their taxes. There are some, as we go along the year, like Mr. Outlaw was pointing out a while ago, they just live paycheck to paycheck. But this demonstrates that, that they are, by and large, they are trying to pay their bills. And for some of them, it is really a struggle. And we appreciate those that are able to and willing to pay on time each year, some ahead of time. And, but we also appreciate the efforts of those that are maybe a little less fortunate. And sometimes we have to get a little bit firm, but we want to be fair, and we try to do that as well. So we appreciate everybody's effort, right on, including our taxpayers. So, are there any questions?
Yeah, one, this tax, the report that you want us to approve is 10 years, and then has someone gone that long without?
Unfortunately,
and what category, what the biggest category that these people fall in that gone 10 years?
The 10-year category is probably predominantly personal property.
The old motor vehicle.
Yes, over the years. Of course, that program now has changed. But yes, the old motor vehicle system had a lot of stuff left that we were just not able to pull in.
Okay.
But we
And
continue to work on it.
Even though they may not be operating a motor vehicle now, they still need to pay that back tax?
Yes, sir, that's still a lien on their taxes.
Okay.
Mr. Bellfield, may I just make one comment here?
Yeah.
The tax department has done an outstanding job there. We've done a lot of things down here, and I'm about half feds that I can in places I don't need to be. But anyway, they have done an outstanding job on what they're doing. They're trying to get it in the right position to eliminate it, or not eliminate it, but use it. And I appreciate Mr. Wren and all your folks.
Thank you all.
Yeah, I agree that the department has done an outstanding job.
And so
I was just asking what category that people have, 10 years
Yeah.
that haven't paid them.
Yes,
What
sir.
category they fall in.
Yes, and we've reduced that figure even, the prior year becomes tougher and tougher every year. But you can see we're collecting more prior year money overall, and that's shrinking. But as it shrinks, it gets quite a bit harder to collect. And obviously, I need to ask that you all approve this year's settlement and then charge me with, or my office with collecting the new levy, which, by the way, I believe the file for the new bills has been sent to the printers. So we'll be providing people an opportunity to start all over again very soon.
Mr. Chairman, just one question for Mr. Wren, if I could. Being your department and our management staff has got our collection rate up so high, well over 98%, do you get any inquiries from other counties asking how you have been able to improve that? Because I looked a couple of weeks ago at all the counties and what their tax collection rate was, and some of them are significantly less than what we are, even some of the ones reasonably close by. Do you ever get asked for any help from any of those, or what our methods are? Just curious.
Yeah, I have the opportunity, of course, to go to association meetings, and I know the staff occasionally will, we're on a listserv, statewide listserv, and I do I'm not bombarded with it, but we are asked occasionally at these associational district tax meetings, that type of thing. Hey, what are y'all doing different, And I've been able to share with them some of the things that we're doing, and they're a little surprised at the effectiveness that we've been able to realize with it. I don't know how readily they go back and embrace those ideas, but sometimes we hear ideas we don't really want to hear, but we put them in effect, and hey, you can't argue with success, so those things are successful.
I did get one tax bill over the weekend from another county, so some people are ahead of you on getting your bills out.
Yes, sir. We stress quality.
That was, that was Mr. Lamb's, home county of Dare
Oh,
County.
okay. Yeah,
got
well,
the
he
bill
left them well
on
trained.
Saturday.
I got one last week from Franklin County.
Yeah, he was a quick thing.
Yeah, actually, we were, our goal was to get them out in July, but there's a recurring problem with the software that they have to go back and manually, on certain types of property, make changes. And we've worked with the vendor over and over, and just,
I think everybody will be all right for you another few weeks to get them
yeah,
out.
they'll be out this week, I think.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you
Won't you
mentioning.
be all right, Mr. Morgan?
I don't know about that. I was gonna ask him one more question, if I might. Mr. Wren has used a lot of things, but he uses one thing here and he uses one thing here, both of them together. And that's most unusual in the tax business now.
Yeah.
Common horse sense. Thank you. I appreciate what you do.
I got one more
All of
thing
you.
to say.
Thank you.
You do an outstanding job. Thank you.
And I'd like to say, this is our number one revenue. This is 53% of our revenues is property tax. And when you can move it from 95% to 98, almost 98.5%, that's several $1 million in collections, or at least 1.5 million in collections. And every one of these indicators, after last year, we were concerned that it was going to be hard to reach what we reached last year. And if you notice, every one of them is better than last year, even on page 2, where you might have collected less in prior years, your outstanding 10-year balance reduced. And as you reduce those prior years, as you reduce the current years each year, initially, there's less out there to collect. So if you look at all 6 pages, every single, whether it's real property, personal property, everything's doing much better. And I, too, want to thank the staff. They're very supportive, and they understand their vital role in the revenue stream of Nash County. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Might
There's
be
some more.
might be the quality of the people supplying.
all right, we're ready for a motion. The tax collector has suggested that we approve a motion to accept the report and charge the tax administrator with collecting taxes from 2006 through 2016.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Barnes,
Second.
second by Commissioner Wells. You've heard that motion. All in favor of it, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposers say no. Motion carried, unanimous. Now your monthly tax report.
And, Mr. Chairman, our monthly tax report is included in your items for information purposes, and actually is technically encompassed in this settlement. So, and if you have any questions related to that monthly tax report, I'd be glad to answer them as well. Otherwise, I would ask you to, if we could move on to the
Okay, we'll
Refunds.
move on to tax refund.
okay. So I just have to have your approval.
Motion
release
to
those
approve the tax refund.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw,
Second.
second by Commissioner Richardson. You've heard that motion to approve the tax refund. All in favor of it, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposers say no. Motion carried, unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Board.
All right, the next thing on the agenda is commissioner reports.
Chairman Bellfield, I would like to thank Nash County for allowing me to attend the national conference last week. I think the big push from the county commissioners all over the United States is still mental health. There's so many of the jails being filled with mental health people that should be there for criminals. They're trying to work out systems to make sure that they get the things they need to keep them out of the jails and get them the medicine they need or the places they need to put, that the jails could be used for what it's supposed to be used for and not as a babysitter for mental health things. I actually attended four workshops on mental health, and each one of them was different. But I think the main thing is that we all got to come together to realize that we have a problem. We have to work on the problem if we're going to get rid of it, and it's going to take us all working together. You can't keep pushing it under the rug and think that it's going to take care of itself. They're working very hard with the sheriff's departments or the police departments. Also, there's a new drug out on the line now that they can buy that's kind of replacing heroin. And there was a big workshop on that, the things that you need to be looking for, because you realize that our sheriff's department, our police departments are doing a wonderful job. But when something new comes on the line, they have to have some help. And they want us to just remember that we are responsible partly for all of the citizens of our county. And when these things come up, to be sure to work with our departments on those things. And I think that was really the biggest push for the whole convention was mental health, to make sure that we take care of the people that need to be taken care of, keep them out of the jails, keep the jails open for what they were put there for the criminals, and to work to try to get these people back as citizens and so that they can become actually good citizens for our county. And I appreciate you letting me go. Thank you.
Well, I'll follow up on that. I also attended, and I appreciate the board selecting me to be the voting delegate out there. I also attended workshops, and especially one on reducing mental illness in county jails. And they're saying that's vitally important that we work on that, because it's costing the taxpayers quite a bit of money when you just keep putting people mental illness in jail and just holding them there. Also, the veterans and military service, they talked about the various resources that are available, and now that we do have a veterans department here in Nash County now with a full-time administrator of that, I just hope that he'll be on top of what benefits, and especially housing was one that they emphasize, that we have a lot of homeless veterans that are out on the street, and also employment is not that good too for a lot of them. Workforce development. We do have workforce development program here in the 5-county area under the Upper Coastal Plain Council of Government, but I learned in that workshop that nonprofits can also apply for grants to deal with workforce development, especially trades, carpentry. And mention, I know carpentry, mechanics, and there were one or two of technology that can get a lot of people back to work in those areas. And so I'll be checking with Upper Coastal Plain Council of Government in connection with doing some training or supporting training in that area, working with the community college and in helping to get a lot of people who are unemployed back into jobs. And was one thing else that they pointed out that we should be doing is promoting counties. Counties matter. It is the government that is the closest to the people, and we should promote that. Counties matter. I believe I think that covers most of. Oh, I attended the workshop on how to conduct and run a meeting, I think we're doing a pretty good job based on some of the stuff that we saw. They had filmed some city council meetings and county commissioners meeting, and it is amazing how many of them are disruptive, almost to the point that they had to get the law enforcement to even calm the elected officials down. And I think that's a shame. But we're doing, in my opinion, we can all improve, but we're doing a great job. We don't have nothing like that, even from the public or from the elected officials. Calling each other names and you're a liar and I this and that. It was amazing that workshop, they had caught all this on tape and they showed it to us, and this is what some meetings that been held across the United States in some counties and some municipalities. So I thought it was a very good workshop, and we had some role playing in there also. That covered most of the things, because naturally we had an election to elect a second vice president. We had a lot of resolutions that we approved for the national agenda. And also, I attended a committee, the Committee on Transportation and the Committee on Environment, and they had some interesting information and also some recommendations that will be a part of the NACO's agenda for 16-17. That's my report.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I'd just like to publicly thank Mr. Norris Tolson and Caroline Gateway's Partnership for their hard work, and all the commissioners and all the other people who were involved in helping to bring the CSX intermodal terminal here to Rocky Mount. I've talked to people from across eastern North Carolina in the last 2 weeks, and they've just been very congratulatory on all the efforts and success of bringing them here. So thank you.
Yeah, and I might mention, even at NACO meeting, I had several commissioners ask me, how did you all do that? I said, we just have a good experienced staff in knowing how to work to get things done as it relates to economic development. So they said, well, that's a great thing, and that ought to be great for Nash County and for eastern North Carolina.
Well, the News Observer said it took a seasoned veteran to get it done.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was telling them, the experienced staff, and experienced people that know how to work to get things done.
Mr. Chairman, while you're on committee reports, I'll just say, Benji, you brought it up. I mentioned 4 or 5 months ago about Christian Fellowship Home was in the process of opening up a veterans home here in Rocky Mount. We did get it open 3 months ago over on Howell Street, and we currently have 7 veterans staying at the home, and quite frankly, all the beds are full. We had 7 beds, and they're already full. So we are making an effort to get those veterans that were homeless in our area into a decent place to live, and very nice home that the Christian Fellowship Home was donated to home, and we did quite a bit of work on it through donations throughout the county, and do have 7 people living there presently.
Well, that's good, and we still need more, because I know some that are still homeless.
Yep, could well be. I was surprised we filled up quite as quick as we did.
Mr. Chairman, just a couple of 3 things. First, to kind of piggyback on the conference that you guys went to, I know the board appreciates your participation in that, but I wanted to mention, as I'm sure you know, that we do have a program in our detention center that is dealing with mental health, which we recently approved. Yeah. So I trust you mentioned that at the conference. Also, to send a shout out to the Sheriff's Department. They had a community forum here a few weeks back. A tremendous effort between the Sheriff's Department in Nash, Edgecombe, City of Rocky Mount to reach out to the public and talk about the interaction between the public and law enforcement. And Sheriff Stone did an outstanding job, as did the other participants, but I wanted to single out one person in that particular forum that really struck me, and that was Trooper Clee Atkinson. I think Trooper Atkinson worked with Keystone in Edgecombe County, and that is a man, if you've never heard him speak before people, he really relates to the people extremely well. I was very impressed with Trooper Atkinson.
Yeah, we've had him at our church.
Well, he's an excellent speaker, and he
is
really gets down and
excellent.
where the
Yeah, he
people can
does.
understand him.
Yeah.
Last thing I wanted to mention was, have we had any discussion between our staff and the school system staff regarding the transition? Have we had our initial meeting?
I communicated, I finally got the chair.
Okay.
And I communicated with him, and his word to me, he said, I will be getting with the superintendent, and I asked him to, quick as possible.
Okay, I know
do
the
that.
sooner we get started on that, the more of an impact we can have early up.
Yeah.
We've actually had our finance officer talking with their finance officer about some discrepancies that we've found as far as the allocation of students between the two counties. But we got the word last week that the superintendent had said he wanted our chairman to talk before we started meeting. So we should be meeting very soon.
Okay, I don't know when they're gonna start buying new buses, get new buses and things like that, but that's the ideal time to start the transition. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, anyone else? One final thing that I did leave out in my comments that was also heavily discussed at the meeting is, you remember this Zika virus?
Yes.
They in the workshop there, they were suggesting that your county health department and hospitals and all begin to take a look at this. There's no cure for it, but you need to be ready, and just in case, if you happen to have an outbreak, which probably won't happen as long as we can keep the mosquito population down. But one thing they did bring out is that a mosquito can bite a person that has this virus and can transfer it on to other people and bite them. So this is something that they suggest that all stagnant water and things like that, mosquitoes breed on, you need to get rid of it. And be prepared just in case. I know it's hit, what is it, Broward County in Florida? I think they have 3 cases down there. And it could be transmitted by a mosquito biting a person that's affected with it and pass it on, biting another one, and they also get it. So that's something that is your health care system within your county need to kind of communicate, maybe even have a task force to, and it doesn't necessarily have to a task force on that, on the virus. It could be a task force on healthcare issues in your area or your county. So I think that covers everything. I wrote all the things down that I want to discuss and left that one out.
Mr. Chairman, can I add one thing also? I attended the Board of Elections meeting a couple weeks ago, and they voted to have an early voting site in the southern part of the county in Mount Pleasant. So that's going to be a new early voting site.
Okay. So we'll pass that on to the people that live in that area so that they, for early voting, those that want to vote early can go to Mount Pleasant. All right, let me get back to my agenda now. After Commissioner's report now, we're at the County Manager's report.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and not to belabor some of the things y'all have said, but y'all gave great reports today, and I want to reiterate what Commissioner Outlaw said, being proactive, y'all did with the advice of the sheriff, appropriate funds this year so that we can have a teleconferencing site in the jail for mental health issues. I think it was $24,000, $2,000 a month. So anytime they feel like an inmate needs that preliminary conference, they can bring them into a room and have them communicate with a professional, and then they can decide if further treatment is necessary. So the other thing I wanted to say regarding the budget, regarding the voting sites, of course, after they decided on that fourth voting site, I think on Friday, the reduction of the early voting days was struck down by the Fourth Circuit, and that might put some stresses now that they have 4 voting sites, and they're going to have to extend the early voting a few extra days. That might put some stresses on the budget as approved, so there may be a need to come back to the commissioners and fully fund those requirements. Also want to join in on the praise for Carolina Gateway Partnership and the Carolina Connector announcement from CSX. As you know, this state-of-the-art facility is going to bring some much-needed, good-paying jobs to the community, both in construction of the project over the next 3 years, as well as permanent jobs thereafter. And we're also very optimistic about the spinoff development that will occur, according to the Vice President for our county, Krista. She indicates that they're already getting phone calls from other companies wanting to be close to the intermodal. And so I think we've just seen the tip of the iceberg. And again, a lot of praise must go to Norris Tolson and his ability to come in here and work quick to take advantage of this situation and land that facility for the Twin Counties. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Also want y'all to know that we're doing a refresh of our county website. It's a 6-month project. We're going to try to make it more functional and user-friendly. We plan to go on schedule live at the end of December. So any suggestions anyone has, please let us know. We are going to be working on that over the next few months. As y'all know, our home health agency moved to the East Point building on the UNC Nash Hospital campus on Wednesday. This week, we're going to start the hazardous material remediation in the old building next door, and we will be demolishing that building very soon in anticipation of the new courthouse expansion project. The courthouse project is on schedule. We have solicited pre-qualification proposals, which we received by the deadline on Friday, and those will be reviewed by our review committee. We had quite a few pre-qualification applications. We are on track to accept bids on the construction project on September the 8th, 2016. So on that day, these construction companies will submit bids for the contract, for the construction contract. And we'll know much better then what we're looking at cost-wise. Later, in October, we'll go before the Local Government Commission, get approval. First meeting in October, and then award the bids, and construction should start towards the end of the year. The Nashville EMS building is complete for the most part. We've got some furnishings to install, and we will be having a ribbon cutting, and we'll keep you posted on the date and time for that event. The Highway 97 sewer project is nearing completion. We hope to have the sewer line in operation by the end of August. The storage building at the corner of Church and Body Street that we traded to the town has been demolished by the county according to the agreement. And so we have fulfilled our obligations, and I think the town's doing some grading work, but the building is down. As a reminder, next week, August 11th through 14th, the NCACC Summer Conference will be held in Forsyth County. Many of you have signed up to go, and we'll be in touch regarding carpooling, transportation arrangements. As a reminder, I would like to remind everyone that the first Monday in September is a holiday, and the commissioners have previously voted to move that meeting to Tuesday, September the 6th. We haven't got our final numbers on last year's budget, but it appears that the general fund will increase the fund balance, the unrestricted fund balance, at least $500,000, probably no more than $750,000. And also, we've been requested by the association to submit legislative goals, because the two-year legislative goals process is beginning, and I believe they want those, I think it was September or end of
September or something.
yeah. And so if we have any legislative goals that you want the board to consider to send to Raleigh, I guess we will need to do that at the September meeting and get them on over there to Raleigh. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman?
yes,
May I make one comment myself?
yes.
And like a lot of people, and including myself, I kind of don't find out all the facts before I start doing something in a roundabout way, because I think it's wrong to do it that way, but after I get through, I'm bound to be the one that should have waited for another 30 days to do it. And Mr. Wren has been, he's been a help, and I have known him a long time, and I know he's done, I got up and done some things that I shouldn't have done probably. But I was trying to look at the people, but then after I found out, evaluated myself, I said, oh, hell, I done screwed up again. But anyway, that's Mr. Wren has done an outstanding job, and I want to compliment him now while he's out there, and so while I'm here, because I've known him a long time too. Thank you.
Okay, well, we all proud of what he does for the county. Okay, that concludes our agenda for a regular meeting. I call for a motion to go into closed session for economic development, personnel, and matters with our county attorney.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw,
Second.
second by Commissioner Davis. You've heard that motion. All in favor of it, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. And opposers say no. Motion passed unanimous. We're now ready to go into closed session.